Disoriented and confused, you are forced into a race against time, technology, and termination. Running in the shadows and cracks between the megaplexes, survival depends on your wits, your weapons, and your wayward companions. Plunge into the dark side of the future where technology and magic become one, where devolution and destruction are a way of life. Plunge into Shadowrun. And this is Shadowrun. Imagine that. A action RPG from Beam Software, published by the nice people over at Data East. Thanks for bringing us Shadowrun, people at Data East, in 1993. Part of the Shadowrun franchise, and I would say probably the least obnoxious cyberpunk thing I have ever experienced. I don't care for cyberpunk. I don't care for steampunk. I don't care for anything punk or whatever. But, I do really like Shadowrun. It is an action RPG game with this nice isometric display thing. Combines the statistical factor of the original tabletop game with real-time gameplay. We're given direct control over our protagonist, moving around with the D-pad. We have a cursor system that allows us to interact with things like doors and passageways, examine objects, pick up things, engage in conversations, and utilize firearms and magic. Shadowrun is an adaptation, we mentioned, of the role-playing game of the same name, the tabletop game. The storyline based loosely on the first Shadowrun novel, Never Deal with the Dragon, by Robert N. Charrett. We open up in Seattle, Washington in 2050, where our protagonist has been gunned down. We are revived somehow by a shape-shifting vulpine figure and wake up in a morgue with complete memory loss, soon approached by the dog, a shamanistic totem who gives him a warning before vanishing. The game was met with positive critical reception and good reviews, was given a number of awards from various publications, including the title of Best RPG of the Year by Video Games, Electronic Games, and Game Informer, and was a runner-up for a Game Pro behind Secret of Mana. This beat out Secret of Mana in some magazines. It was given second place Nintendo Power Award in the category Most Innovative Super Nintendo Game. Nominated for Challenge, Nintendo Power described it as one of the best sci-fi games ever. However, it sold poorly, partly because of low shipping numbers. Been positively recounted in many retrospective lists and articles, listed as the 34th best Super Nintendo game by Superplay and the 48th best on any Nintendo platform by Nintendo Power in 1997, ranking as the 77th top Super NES game in 2011. IGN commented that while Shadowrun didn't quite get away from the common RPG stereotypes, it was still a milestone for the introduction of film noir-style gaming industry. Though, so we can forgive the game for only being 90% groundbreaking. It was cited as the most important milestone in the use of film noir style in video games by Game Informer, according to which Shadowrun's moody music and dark streets set the somber tone for this RPG's prying conversations and self-reflective narrative. Game Informer ranked it as the 125th on their list of best video games of all time in 2009. IGN listed it among their favorite Australian video games in 2010, writing it was, without question, one of the best underexposed classics of the SNES era because it presented players with a mature narrative, strong characters, and a dystopian backdrop, blended with traditional RPG elements in an irresistible way. The same year, 1UP included it on their list of 15 games ahead of their time for its use of a keyword dialogue system common to PC games, but foreign to console games at the time, like Final Fantasy II. There are a bunch of different Shadowrun games. There's one for the Genesis, which is a little bit different. I believe there was a remake in the works. Shadowrun Returns came out later. That might be the one I'm thinking of. Anyway, I really like this game. I think it's a fantastic game. Combat's a little slow. It takes a lot to get yourself to the point where you're not going to die every 18 seconds. But the story is good. I think the pacing is really good, and the way the game presents itself and the challenges is really good. That said, though, it does kind of have this almost point-and-click adventure kind of thing going on, where sometimes it's a little too cryptic and a little too just arcane to figure stuff out. But it works really well. I would say this is probably one of Data East's best publications.